All right, Samia, feel free to fire it away.
Hi, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome on this beautiful Sunday. The sun is out. I don't know where everyone's at, but the sun here is popping. So I just wanted to first introduce myself. My name is Samia. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the director for the Student Health Consortium. This is one of the workshops I'm actually super excited for. We're going to be talking about holistic nutrition, and Lizzie is going to be the presenter and the speaker for this event. The one thing I want to say before I zip on up and let Lizzie take on over is please check out our last workshop of the day. It starts at 5 p.m. So if you have that calendar invite, just hop on in there. It's self-defense. It's going to be popping even on Zoom, like expect it. It's live. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic on to Lizzie.
Hi, yeah, thank you, Samia. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here and just being part of this workshop. I know it's Sunday, so it's a very busy day for a lot of us, and there's football going on. So first off, I want to get a little bit into this workshop and what it's going to be about. It is holistic nutrition, healing fundamentals. We have the layout for today. Go here. This is going to be the overview today. We're going to cover our basics of what holistic nutrition is. The nutrition basics, go into some breakout rooms, talk about the mind and body connection, our goals and strategies, and then end the evening with some questions and contact. I'm going to actually start off with a little bit of an overview of my background to give you guys to get a little comfortable, so you're not just taking advice from a random stranger. So my name is Lizzie. I use she, her pronouns. I am at the University of Washington. I'm a junior, and my major is actually going to be food systems and public health. My background in nutrition came from having two major illnesses when I was younger. I had epilepsy and a heart condition, and I was actually the 10% that didn't respond to medication. So throughout my schooling and education and just growing up, I was always having to be homebound, and we couldn't figure out like what would really work for me to get better. And then throughout the years, I started to get more into just going to the gym and physical fitness, and I started to see a little bit of a switch in my health. And then the more I focused on nutrition, that's when I started to see really large changes in my health and my wellness, and to the point where I was actually able to become stabilized on medication and really focusing on my diet. And now I'm the healthiest that I've ever been, which I'm very grateful for. So what really happened was just my overall perception with health and nutrition changed. So that being said is how today we're going to be discussing holistic nutrition and what really happened. So first, I'm going to be asking questions for you guys throughout the slide here. My first question is, what do we think nutrition is? So nutrition is actually going to be the process of providing and obtaining food. It is necessary for health and our growth. And then nutrients. Nutrients are very important. So nutrients are chemical compounds in food that are used by our body and functioning properly to maintain health. Examples are going to be including fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals. Our diet can help determine and discourage whether or not we will become ill or remain healthy. And with so many diets, why should we choose holistic nutrition? Holistic nutrition uses foods as healings for a person's emotional, physical, and spiritual health. It involves consuming healthy whole foods that are unrefined, unprocessed, organic, and locally grown. So now that we understand the meaning of nutrition, what does holistic mean? So holistic is understanding parts of something that is interconnected and referencing everything as a whole. And holistic nutrition is more of a diet. This is going to be something that's a way of life. Anybody who's gone on a diet really ultimately knows that it's something that's not sustainable. Holistic nutrition teaches you a model of health by providing not only dietary guidance, but lifestyle suggestions as well. Everybody is different, so holistic nutrition also provides a food plan that is going to be the best for you. It increases our energy, which I have that quote here. Food impacts our health through giving our bodies the materials to function properly. And then it improves our mood and mind. Food also helps. If you've ever heard the quote, food as medicine. Let's see. Food acts as medicine to prevent, maintain, and treat disease. The body's immune system has the ability to repair itself and is linked to improving what you eat, how you encourage. Oops, got a little ahead of myself there. Can encourage greater healing as well as keeping from disease developing. So we have disease prevention at our fingertips, yet at the same time, we are putting food into our bodies that are really damaging our health system. Go on to the next slide here. So this is a plan. This is what our diet and our food should be broken down into. This is from My Plate. This is how it's broken down is into fruits, vegetables, greens, and proteins. Fruits and vegetables are going to be taking up to half of the space. Grains and protein making up the other half. Vegetables and grain portions are going to be the biggest of the four. And I don't like just giving charts, so I made sure to reference the actual physical food and what we're looking at here. As you can tell, it's going to be all whole, non-processed foods that we're having, besides some of the bread that's in there. And it talks about how to make sure you eat your vegetables, eat your protein, and get your whole greens. On top of the My Plate, it also breaks down, so it's breaking down our food portions, but then it's going to count how much you should eat in your calorie allowance. So this takes into account your weight, your physical activity, and your height, and really focusing on portion sizes, which is something that's where we have those issues with food and control. Then right here, I attached a grocery list. A lot of the issue in the health world is it's false advertising. What we may think is healthy, there's a lot of lies, is the word I'm looking for there, lies behind it. And so what the main focus and what we should be really looking for is whole foods. And that's going to be this list here. I mean, there's so many, so this only contains so much. But I like to really think when you go into the produce section, how long of a shelf life does that item have? If it's something, I mean, besides frozen food, if it's something that can last beyond a couple of days or can stay in your cabinet for a couple months, why is that? What is the process behind that? And that is something that we should avoid because we don't know the ingredients and the artificial flavors that we are putting into our bodies. So these are some goals that I broke down into 5 of what we should be doing. So first off, I have choose a healthy eating pattern at an appropriate calorie level to help achieve and maintain body weight, support nutrients, and reduce risk of chronic disease. Number 2 is to meet nutrient needs with calorie limits. Choose a variety of nutrient-dense foods with all food groups and the recommended amounts. Number 3 is create an eating pattern with low in added sugars, saturated fats, and components that will fit into your healthy life. Then we're going to be shifting to number 4 is to shift to healthier food and beverage choices. Not only that, you want to consider cultural and personal preferences to make these shifts easier to accomplish and maintain. And then number 5 is going to be support healthy eating patterns for all. Really just focus on making change nationwide, whether it's at home, school, or work. Let's see. The original plan was we were going to do some breakout groups. I do want to get your opinion on this, Unica. Do you think with people coming in that we should go ahead and do breakout groups? But I know there's a small amount of people here right now.
I think we could just make this open for all of us right here in the main room. I think that might be a little bit more convenient. I would actually be interested. I'm actually interested in learning more about some of your past challenges and what led you to this this holistic viewpoint or perspectives in nutrition now. Just based on this question, I'm curious to hear about your perspective. And a lot of people would be interested in hearing about this from you too.
Yeah. So like I mentioned before, my biggest challenge and why I started to get into nutrition was because of the health issues that I was facing. But the biggest challenges that I face right now is going to be time, money, and resources with getting food. I know having access to organic nutrition and whole foods and having the time to really, especially being a student, is one of the biggest challenges I face. And it all comes down to time management and being resourceful and understanding and educating yourself on your diet. We have so many resources that we're actually able to get help and implement into our diets that we can have really good healthy diets. But what I think the thing is, we just have bad habits of getting busy and kind of letting that go on the wayside. And a lot of the changes that I needed to make were, like I said and mentioned above, like time management. And also a lot of it came down to the mind and body connection. For a while, my diet, I was really focused on more of really strict dieting for the physical aspects of it and not understanding, okay, I want to do this for my overall health. And I got really restrictive, and I look back now and I see that there was a lot of really bad side effects to being super restrictive, not like being scared ultimately to eat certain foods. And it was causing more stress in my life than it should have been. Like, you shouldn't be going out to eat to friends and being stressed because there's not certain things that you want on the menu. And so, like, I really learned how to eat intuitively rather than wanting to weigh out all my food and having like this sense of like, I need to control my diet in this way. So I went from one extreme to another. And it took me years and years and years to like learn how my body responds to things and how I really wanted to change my diet. And that all comes down to really intuition, because no registered dietitian is going to understand who you are and your body more than you will. And that's really gain a sense of just being in tune with yourself. But it does take years. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think I also resonate in some ways too, like the timing and then what to put into your menu. I think that's something that I don't even know like what to put into the system here. Part of it is just knowing what to put on my plate, you know, instead of just stuffing it all in. I think that's kind of like, sometimes I eat just because I'm hungry and I just want to get stuff in.
Yeah.
and not thinking about, I just because of this whole retreat thing is just making me think like, how can I eat mindfully and how can I think about what to eat, like what to put into the system, what to put into my plate. and just like what are the healthy, what's like, I think that's just a challenge, not knowing what to put, you know. Like I do know that there's a general way of like eating healthy and stuff like that, but it's just the specific wise, we weren't really trained to do that.
Yeah.
So it's just not knowing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would say something that I've learned is that you can't let the perfect get in the way of the good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like the first step is like prioritizing your health and putting it first and actually, putting the effort. But after that, it's okay to cut back. You don't want to overwork yourself or overthink it.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the main difference between holistic nutrition and diet culture. And diet culture is really pushed right now within our society of put yourself on the strict diet and you'll see fast results, because that's something we all want. We want quick results. But I've worked with people with their nutrition and coaching plans, and I've seen how it really affects their mental health. And I was like, I don't want to tell people that they can't have a slice of cake. Like that doesn't align with my goals. If you are eating healthy and you want a slice of cake every once in a while, that is part of your self-care routine. Go ahead and do it. Like, but there's too many restrictions right now in diet culture, and that's why I found holistic nutrition to be so important, because it's going to be that lifestyle change.
another challenge too that I'm currently facing is balancing I think it's just I'm curious to hear about insights about your holistic menu plan, your daily nutrition plans. But it's just, I think the balance too, like, is there a certain amount you need to put in your plate? How often do you need to do eat this or plan this? And like what is included in the holistic menu and what is not included in the holistic menu, something like that. It's just, I think just trying to balance things out. So that's just something that I never was taught, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to come back to the My Plate, and it's very similar to just like the basics of getting your fruits, vegetables, grains, and proteins. When you go to the grocery store, I definitely want you guys to make it a habit to start looking at the labels, not for like counting calories or anything, but to look at the ingredients. And we're looking for overall just words that you can understand. Like if you look at peanut butter, there's a lot of additives and sugars that they put in that. What you want to look for is like peanuts, like just simple things like that. When you're going to the produce section, that's mainly where you're going to want to be. It's just whole foods. Like they have paleo diet, which is pretty much the caveman diet, but think back then when they didn't have anything to industrialize our food system and make it a process. Like frozen fruits and vegetables are going to be really healthy. Like that's fine, but there's a lot of things that you'll see that it's a lot of our food that is pushed, it is a marketing scheme. So I definitely, like, what I suggest is really just staying in the produce section and staying in the organic section. There's a lot of really good resources like the food pantry that we have, local food pantries that get from farmers locally, and then also time management. What I like to do is I do freezer meals. So I'll do a day where I have an Instapot. I'll cook out like chicken, some vegetables. I'll throw vegetables in the oven. I'll do chicken in the Instapot, and then I'll do like a week's worth of food. And that you can even freeze some of your meals, and then just like take it out and heat up and eat it whenever. But like I said, right now I haven't been making that a priority. I've kind of neglected that a little bit, but there's a way to, you learn over time. You can get really quick at it. There's so many, like when I first started prepping my food and freezing it and planning ahead, it did take me a little bit of time, but then after I was like, oh, I can do this in 15 minutes. And I can make a week's worth of food in 15 minutes. Like, get the oven going, get Instapot going, just throw protein in there, throw my whole grains, like, in, boil some rice or like sweet potatoes. And I'll do like, I like to pretty much make everything a salad is what I like to think. So I'm really focusing on, yeah, just big salads pretty much, if that makes sense.
And another question I have is, how do we keep track of our, how do I say this? Like, how do we keep track of ourselves by maintaining this healthy habits? Because it's hard. It's like, it's not easy to just suddenly just make this to a daily practice. It just takes time to get a habit of this. And so I'm curious about your insights on that.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I suggest taking on as a little step at a time. That's why I don't agree with diets, because they'll be like, change up your entire diet overnight. That is not the plan. Like, if you want to make it a small goal of like, all right, this week I'm going to drink this certain amount of water. I'm going to start with that. Or this week I'm going to, instead of eating out like 4 times this week, I'm going to cut it back. I'm going to just do it 2. And I'm going to make 2 of my favorite meals that I get. Like, say I get teriyaki 4 times a week. I'm going to make 2 of those meals at home. So just focus on starting to make little changes and adjustments here and there. Because if you change, I mean, that's any type of challenge that you take on, you're going to get burnout and just, it's going to go by the wayside. So I would just focus on a small goal of, all right, for this week, I'm going to try and make breakfast, or I'm going to try and make dinner for myself this week. And then eventually really just get that entire change really going. Because it is going to be, like I said, this is a lifestyle change. This is not a 2-week change. So you have all the time in the world to do it. And don't put too much on yourself at once. So that's also a part of holistic nutrition, knowing how much you can take on at a time.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well.
Yeah, can you go back to the question slides? I think there was like a few more, right?
Yeah. Do any of you guys know right now what you would want to change, like, in your diet? Is there anything that you're struggling with the most? I know, Unica, you mentioned like time for you.
Might have to think about it, but anyone else can feel free to share. I'm still thinking about, I mean, I like to eat breakfast in the morning. Like, it's very important for me to eat after, so, after, X amount of hours of sleep. I think it just energizes me. And I would always eat, usually milk, oatmeal. I like peanut butter sandwich, and eggs sometimes. So I think I'm very happy with my breakfast, but I don't know about my dinner time. Dinner time, I just whatever stuff into it, but I don't really pay attention too much about, what I put for dinner. But I'm proud of what I'm doing for breakfast, though. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I think I would love to change. I guess just being mindful about the food that I eat for lunch and for dinner. So, yeah.
I'm actually a huge breakfast person too. I feel like
I need breakfast. That's like
90,
necessary.
90% of the meals I make, even for dinner, if I know if it's gonna like fuel my body or make me feel good, I'm fine at eating breakfast throughout the day. Like, I'll have eggs for breakfast, and later in the evening I'll have some oatmeal, but I'll make sure like I'll get my greens with my eggs. So I'll make like an omelet, but I'll make it very dense in like kale and spinach. So I'll get that, and then I love oatmeal. So you can have breakfast throughout the day. Like, there's nothing wrong with. Yeah,
I feel a lot more happier when I make my own breakfast, because it's like there's just this feeling with it. But like for dinner, I don't really care. I'm hungry, I just eat whatever I want. But like for breakfast or like brunch, I really do put like, I pay attention to what I'm eating for during this. So it's weird to me, like, why is this the case? Like, I very focused, maybe because like, you know, you just got out of bed and you just really you need to put something in your system right now. Like, it's so important. Like, I don't just drink tea or coffee or anything. I need to make like, I need to make something. I need to put, you know, make a meal. So that's just something I notice. Yeah.
But if you focus, we're going to talk about this a little bit later too. So you're focusing there on your connection with what you're eating with your food. So in the morning, it seems like you're really focusing more on what you're eating, and then later in the evening, you're kind of just like rushing it and not really consciously aware of like what you're doing. So in the morning, it seems like your mood is overall more improved because your connection, your mind and your body is more connected with your meals in the morning. You're not just rushing.
That's true. I never really noticed that until like just attending this workshop. I just noticed, wow, so this is what I feel in the morning when I make breakfast, but for dinner, I just didn't really care about what I'm eating. I just kind of stuff it. But for morning, I really do care about what I'm eating, like making it. It's just, there's connection there. You're making it, you're knowing what you're putting. And it's just exciting to me that way. It's just because I know what I want to eat. It's like, I know what I want to eat, but for dinner, it's just like, I don't care. I'm just going to just eat whatever. So it's interesting to me that way. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And I think that's a perfect way to lead up to our mind and body connection and dive a little bit more into that. So this is a little quote I have here. This is eating with intention, or intuition is also eating, knowing, sorry, mumbling here. Intention or intuitive eating is also known as holistic eating, which is a key part of leading a healthier, more mindful life. So we learned about our physical and the science behind nutrition, but nutrition also has a really large impact on our mental health. Right now, our Western diets, there's really high rates of depression compared to, because of Western diets, we have really a lot of saturated fats, a lot of dairies that are linked to increased rates of depression, anxiety, compared to other cultures that really focus on their vegetables, fruits, and seafood, and unprocessed grains. And when it comes to the mind and body connection, I really like to focus on the term "you are what you eat." Because if you think about fueling a car, essentially, if you're putting in dirty gas, or you're going to get poor performance, not only on your body, but your brain. And so the nutrition behind our mind and body connection is going to boost our brain development. It changes brain proteins and enzymes to increase neurotransmitters, which are actually the connections between our brain cells. It really increases our gut bacteria. This promotes a healthy gut biome, which is going to decrease inflammation. If you ever eat certain foods and you're feeling really bloated, take that and be aware of that, because your body might be reacting to something it doesn't like. So really watch out for that. And then also it raises our serotonin levels through various of enzymes, which improves our mood. And that is something why when we get stressed, we tend to go and grab that ice cream, because eating those sweets, it releases that serotonin and has that level of comfort for us. So stress eating is a huge part of mind and body connection. I know for me, I'm definitely I'm a stress eater, and I will go and I will grab, in a time of like, I want comfort, I will go and I'll grab like anything carb heavy or anything like chocolate, ice cream. So, but I really need to start thinking more of like, do I really need this, or am I just wanting a sense of comfort from something right now? So starting to be more aware and mindful of that is a huge part of holistic nutrition. not only that is, are you eating out of social or situational stress, the environment you are in? We also talked a little bit about rushing and the overall why. Why are you putting the certain food into the certain meal into your body? Are you actually hungry? Is it something that you need to fuel you? Or is this because I'm with friends and I want to eat what they're eating, but I don't necessarily need it? Or I'm very stressed out. What can I do to make me feel better in this moment? Which there's nothing wrong with that every once in a while, but stress eating is a huge factor of not being good.
Can I ask a quick question before I forget, actually, since we're
Yeah.
talking about this? I'm curious, I've actually been wondering, what food should we eat when we're on this is for females, okay, when you're on your period?
On your period?
Yes, because sometimes, you get cramps, you get stomach cramps, you get leg cramps, people, they vomit or whatever. Like I think it depends on it may depend on individuals, but I'm curious,
Mm-hmm.
like, how do we find that out ourselves? I mean, sometimes, Google search, but I'm curious about your insights on that.
Yeah, so with being on your period, and we get that, you are going to be lacking a lot of iron.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you want to focus on is incorporating foods that have a lot of iron within them to really, because your body's depleted of that. And that's why we start to feel really, really
Like fatigue,
tired and
mm-hmm.
just not good. So
yeah.
I like to focus a lot on like proteins that are going to be like fish, red. I know I don't eat a lot of red meat, but I will eat it around that time. Greens, but like really iron rich foods, because your body's depleted of iron around that time. And then if you want those comfort foods, and I mean, I'll definitely have chocolate around my period. So.
Yeah, like I heard that too.
That's,
I'm curious, what are some examples of some iron-rich food?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, we have like a huge one is liver. I don't like liver, but that's going to be really a lot of iron in that. There's oysters, clams, mussels, like any of our seafood, chicken and turkey. You can do squash, pumpkins, sesame seeds. Chickpeas are great. Baked potatoes, broccoli, peas. So anything that's going to have a lot of fiber usually has a lot of iron in it. And then also foods that are higher in vitamin C. There's for some reason they also have like a lot of iron in it too, like oranges, lemons, broccoli, leafy greens. So especially around that time, I'd really focus on being aware of what you're eating and making sure, like, just do some large salads and get some really good grains in there. That's going to help that iron deficiency that you have during that time.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So back about the mind and body connection, that comes down to overall just being really present with yourself and what you're eating at the time. I like to break this down into 5 different little categories here about assessing which foods are going to be harmful that you're putting into your body. Eat really raw and unprocessed foods that are going to be including rich enzymes, nutrients, whole grains, and essential fatty acids. And we talked about nutrients, but what I mean by essential fatty acids is like your avocados or butter or the healthy fats. Buy local and organic foods. This is, I know, something that can be hard to get and it can be expensive, but a lot of like UW food, UW farm, and then there's the food banks, and there's a lot of areas that do, there's a way to work around expensive organic food. It's just, it's a pain, and it sucks that that's how it is here, but there's a way to work around it being really expensive. And then practice mindful eating that we discussed a little bit. And then of course we have to focus on drinking a lot of water. I don't do that enough, but I definitely see a difference when I will focus not only on my food, but also my water intake. All right, and that is what I have for you guys this evening. It went by a little bit quicker than I expected. I thought that we were going to be able to do some breakout rooms and everything, but I understand it's Sunday and people are busy. So first off, thank you for everybody for being here who did show up. Very appreciative of that. If anybody has questions, they can contact me on either my Instagram or email me here, or you can feel free to ask me over the mic more. And yeah, I know this is a lot of information to throw at you guys within a short period, but nutrition is something, like I said, that it's a huge challenge to take on, and to slowly just start to make little changes. And if you have questions while you're doing that, I am here for you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, what is just one quick fun question. What is your favorite healthy snacks?
Ooh, favorite healthy snacks. I'm a huge peanut butter person. I love peanut butter, like peanut butter and bananas. I also go through phases. Like right now, I'll wake up in the morning, and like I said, I love oats and breakfast. So I'll make oats. I'll do a little bit of Greek yogurt in there, and then I'll do some chia seeds, slice up some apples or bananas and throw that in there, and a little bit of almond milk, and then peanut butter. And that's been my favorite morning breakfast and healthy snack.
Now I want to eat breakfast with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I eat peanut butter almost every morning. And I love bananas for snacks too, like for fruit. I was gonna ask favorite food, but I feel like bananas. Yeah, but yeah, cool. Anyone else want to share about their favorite healthy snacks or fruit or anything meal?
I've been really into frozen blueberries lately. I just eat them straight out of the bag.
There's a lot of, in Washington, we're really lucky. We have so many good berry farms too.
We do have a lot of blueberry farms. I actually went to one, I think a couple months ago. It's so good. Oh my goodness. I went there with my family, and so we had we had our own buckets, and just bringing that home, we just eat blueberries every day. It's really healthy and it's really good.
Yeah. I did the same thing over the summer, and we still have a whole thing. We froze them. Nice. And I was using them for smoothies. I'm still using them for smoothies, but we got so many berries, like a whole chunk full for $40, and then we just froze it all, and then just throwing things like that in our smoothies. So it was cheaper, and then also compared to going to the grocery store and buying the prepackaged frozen fruits, that can be expensive.
Cool. This is amazing work, Lizzie. I feel like a lot of people would really appreciate this, because this is going to be this recording is going to be shared. So again, thank you everyone for being here. If anyone has any questions, now it's a great time to just digest your thoughts here, and feel free to fire those questions away.
Yeah. Yes. And this is something I absolutely can, like I said, open up more about, because I know it's a lot to take on. So learning more about just our little diet changes, and it's really an individual process. So there's not a one size fits all approach. So it really is going to be coming down to talking to you guys one-to-one and kind of figuring out your preferences, your lifestyle, what is your access, can you cook at home, or are you living in a dorm? What can we work around to to get that, how much time you're willing to put into your diet. So do you have anything about that? There's a lot of things that holistic nutrition will take into account to get that optimal diet within, even if there are limitations.
All right. If there aren't any more questions, I'm gonna just end the recording here. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
And feel free to follow up. Again, her contact is in there. We also are going to do more of these type of workshops in the future. So feel free to follow up on Hero's account, ASUW SHC, and Dynamic Wellness Hour.